How's it going out there? This is Feed Your Mind. And so, in this video, we're going to think outside of the box because this is a brainstorm video. And so, let's get started. One of the main reasons why everyone knows that the moon doesn't rotate is because all of the strange dark spots and blotches on the moon. Without those dark spots and the craters, it really wouldn't be as obvious that the moon is facing us at all times. And so, what are those dark spots? Is the question we're going to get into in this video. And so, scientists call those dark spots Maria. And Maria is Latin for oceans and seas because early astronomers actually thought that those dark spots that you see on the moon were actually lunar oceans. And then later on, scientists determined that the dark spots were actually volcanic residue and volcanic rock. And then others even say that the dark spots are large craters formed due to collisions from other celestial bodies like comets and asteroids and things like that. But when I look at these dark spots, they don't really appear to be craters or impact sites. If I was to go with either of the scientific options, I would probably lean more towards the volcanic option. And so these dark spots cover about 17% of the moon. And so if the dark spots were due to collisions and impacts, that's actually how they say the moon itself formed, by a large planetoid object striking into the earth and then the debris flying up into the atmosphere, creating a moon. And so according to the scientific theory, shouldn't have all of those thousands of craters that apparently struck the moon cause debris to fly up into the moon's atmosphere and form a smaller moon that orbits around our moon? But anyways, it definitely looks like the moon took a beating with all of those craters, and scientists say that's because the moon has pretty much no atmosphere. And so where the meteors and asteroids are said to burn up in Earth's atmosphere, the moon doesn't have a strong atmosphere. And so they're saying that the asteroids and comets were actually able to impact the moon without burning up first. But there's some other things you must consider when you're thinking about meteors and comets before you decide if you want to go with the scientific theory. And so I discuss meteors and comets in full detail in my video called Meteors Are Not What You Were Told. And so check that video out when you get a chance. Craters on the moon actually do appear to be some sort of projectiles that perhaps struck the moon, but some people are suggesting that the moon is not a physical object. And then that brings into question whether or not the moon was designed for us to believe that it's a physical object, or are all of the craters and dark spots on the moon natural? There's many people out there saying that the moon is simply a light in the sky. And so like we discussed in my Moon Is Not What You Were Told video, we cover possibilities of the moon being some type of holographic projection, or is it a actual physical object? And so with the dark spots on the moon, could that be a possible clue? The thing about the dark spots is, like we discussed in my Moon Is Not What You Were Told video, it appears that the dark spots are sometimes said to be see-through. And so with the dark spots of the moon being possibly transparent, that would definitely be a strong argument against the moon being a physical object. And so how did those dark spots appear on the moon is the question, because it seems like that could be a pretty big clue about whether or not the moon is a physical object or not. So was the moon created with the craters and the dark spots on it, or was there a time when the moon did not have any craters or dark spots on it? And so let me share with you something I've discovered that explains a alternative option as to why there's craters and dark spots on the moon. And so there's this rare ancient book that Zen Garcia discovered. And in the book, there's a passage that explains that when the devil was kicked out of heaven, that on the way down falling, this passage explains that he might have vandalized the moon on the way down from getting kicked out of heaven. So I'm not exactly sure where Zen Garcia found this passage. It was probably from an apocryphal book or something, but this is a very interesting find. And so I'm going to play this quick passage for you so that you can hear it for yourself.
He goes by various names, such as the old serpent. In his fall, he spat in his hatred against God, and his spittle stained the moon, and this it is that the moon has on its spots.
And so in that passage, it explains that the devil was said to have spit on the moon. And so if the devil was said to be in a dragon form when he was kicked out of heaven, would that possibly mean that his spit was like fire? And so the thing I find interesting about this passage is that the scientists even had said that the dark spots on the moon are related to volcanic activity. And so I could imagine a dragon-like creature emitting volcanic-like fluid from its mouth, or any other type of flammable type substance. that a dragon might be able to emit. And it doesn't really even have to be flammable because, like a venomous snake is able to project venomous fluid from its mouth. So who really knows what type of substance a dragon would spit out of its mouth? There's another possibility that dragons could be made from the element of fire, or possibly even some type of volcanic creature designed to dwell beneath the earth. And plus, the scientific volcanic theory actually kind of fits with the whole dragon spitting fire at the moon, burning a portion of the moon hypothesis. And by the way, if you want to find out my full take on the possibility of dragons, check out my Dinosaurs Are Not What You Were Told video. And then, for those of you who question if the moon is even a physical object, we also don't know if the dragon that got kicked out of heaven would interact with the spiritual realm or the physical realm. And so if the moon is actually in some type of spiritual realm, then the fallen dragon would have been able to interact with the moon anyways and be able to burn it if it's actually in the spiritual realm where he's from. And plus, that brings into question if there was a time when the moon didn't have any type of markings on it at all. And so if the dragon was the one that vandalized the moon with the craters and the burn marks, then that would mean before that took place, the moon would have possibly been perfectly free from any type of markings or anything. The moon is the only object in the sky that resembles anything close to a physical object. And without the craters and dark spots, the moon would look similar to a sun with no indication of any physical properties. And plus, no one would be able to tell that the moon faces us at all times. And so that's a pretty interesting scripture for sure. And so let's explore another alternative explanation of the dark spots on the moon in this brainstorm session. And so there's this channel called Sturgio Studio 10 who has a very interesting theory of what those dark spots on the moon are. And so Sturgio Studio 10 reveals that if you observe the photo as the dark spots being land masses, as I said earlier in this video, scientists used to think the dark spots were oceans, but if you look at it the opposite way and you see the dark spots as land masses and the rest of the moon as oceans, it almost appears as if the moon could be some type of mirror reflecting the earth beneath it. And so the moon could actually be reflecting the flat earth with all of the extra continents reflected onto the moon surface. And so could the moon be some type of mirror-like surface where it's showing us how our actual earth looks? And the moon wouldn't even have to really be a mirror-like surface. With this hypothesis, it could simply be a clue that was left on the moon, hidden in plain sight, for those of us that have eyes to see. And so if you examine the dark spots of the moon, you can see areas where you could possibly make out where our known lands are here on Earth, with North America and Africa and Europe, and then all of the oceans of the Earth that we know. But the North Pole would not be in the center of the moon. It would be simply over the land area that we are living now. And the explanation for that would be that they said that Adam and Eve got kicked out of the Garden of Eden, so there appears to be larger land masses. As you can see, the vast land masses on the left side of the moon, which could possibly be the right side of the moon if this is a reverse image. If the North Pole is unique to our particular part of the Earth with a dome over it to keep us contained in that part of the Earth due to humankind's behavior issues getting kicked out of the larger areas of the Earth, then this hypothesis could actually work. And so I've examined these images and you can actually make some sense out of this. I mean, I'll leave the link in the comment section in the description box so you can check out the video yourself. Maybe see if you can make any sense out of this. Could this actually be the flat Earth map reflected onto the moon's surface like a mirror? Maybe it works kind of like those convenience store surveillance mirrors where they have those curved mirrors in the corner of the store where the mirror can reflect a much larger surface area by the curved shape of the mirror. I definitely want to know what you think about all of this. It's kind of fun sometimes to go outside of the box and explore areas of thought and use our imagination and really try to figure out some stuff that nobody really even covers. So thank you for tuning in. If you want to hear more brainstorm sessions like this, check out my Feature My Brainstorm playlist. I'll leave the link in the comment section and the description box. Simply enter your email address at featuremind1.com. That way I can send you some cool news briefs throughout the week. It's completely free. I try to put out a new video every 10 patrons, so help me release new videos by becoming a patron. You can sign up for as little as $1. The links in the comment section and the description box. Help this channel become listener supporters so I can continue releasing epic videos for you. And you get early releases and much more. Thank you for your support. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and click your notification bell. This has been another episode of Feed Your Mind. Thank you for tuning in. Signing off.